Merry meet, everybody. Hi, Brianna. Hi, Dwight. Early birds. Welcome to Mystery Witch School. And welcome to another YouTube live stream. Today, we're going to discover what are your deepest fears when it comes to spell work, so that you can learn the truth about spells. That they're not so scary, even if they do backfire, and even if they do bring you unusual results. Because a lot of people who are new to magic in general can fear doing spells. And even though a part of you may really want to work the magic, there could be another part of you that is also afraid to work the magic. And because we're magical beings, you want to be confident doing magic and knowing that there's nothing scary about magic. There's nothing absolutely dangerous about magic. It's all in understanding how magic works. So I want to start first and foremost with a question. What is your greatest fear when it comes to magic? And what if your greatest fear could actually shape the way your spell work unfolds? And this could be fears you're not even aware of. This could be fears in relation to the topic of the spell. Like if you're doing money spell, for example, there may be fears around money. If you're doing love spells, there may be fears around love. Same with healing, same with protection. There could be beliefs that you have about yourself and the world around you that can be influencing your magic. So just have a think about, what if your fears actually shape your spell work? And how do you stop that from happening if they do? So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Fire Mage. Welcome, Sanders. Donna, hi, Robert. How are you going? Good to see you. Hi, Melissa. What do I do? Lack energy? Okay, we'll get to everything. Okay. For those of you who don't know me, of course, and if you are watching the replay, welcome to the replay as well. If you don't know me, my name is Sandra. I've been on the witchcraft path now for over 35 years. And more recently, over the last probably 7 years, I have been helping other witches who are struggling to start a practice to integrate magic confidently into their everyday life with ease. And by magic, I'm not just talking about spells, I'm actually talking about the magic of life and the magic of who you are. So integrating your connection to yourself, your connection to spirit, and your feeling of connection to your purpose and the whole meaning of life, that kind of connection. And I do that, of course, through my YouTube channel, through all the videos that are on YouTube, and also through my courses and one-on-one coaching that I do as a part of Mystery Witch School. And today we are talking about fear and spell work, so that you can confidently cast your spells and do magic without being concerned about anything not working, or if it isn't working, why it isn't working. Because spell work doesn't just respond to the words that you say. It's not just about words. It's not just about the candles. It actually reflects our energy, our beliefs, and our fears. So we give the words their power by the way we say the words, and the way they either mean something to us or they don't. And do they invoke some kind of an emotional response or feeling? We need to say the words with feeling in order for them to really be magical. And when it comes to the candles, we need to be connecting to the energy of the candle as well. So it's helping us feel a certain way, and we can also project energy into the candles if we're doing candle magic. So magic really centers around ourselves. We are the center of the universe of magic because we are the magical beings. When it comes to fear, if the fears are left unchecked, they can sneak into our magic in unexpected ways. So we're going to talk about some of the common fears that a lot of witches face in spell work. And this isn't just fears that you might feel at the beginning of your journey on the witchcraft path. Sometimes witches who've been practicing for decades can fall into some of these fears just simply because they're having a bad run with their magic in a particular area of their life. And so that can cause self-doubt again in your magic. But it's actually not the magic that's the problem. So we're going to look at how you can move the fears, and if there's any questions, of course, along the way in the chat or even later in the comments, if you're watching the replay, I will answer those as well. And we'll look at really simple rituals that you can use to help you along the path as well. Now, I also have a book called Crafting Your Wiccan Path. So if you're interested in books on Wicca and witchcraft, you can get that book on Amazon too. I forgot to mention the book. So I want to share one of my early experiences with magic. And I've spoken about this before, and I'll speak about it again because it's a perfect illustration of beliefs and fears and how it can influence magic. Now, this is way back when I first, probably within the first 5 years of practicing magic. So I'm going way back into the 1990s here. And one of my very first money spells that I did, it was really simple spell. It involved making a poppet, a money poppet, and I got the spell from a book, and I was wanting to bring in money into my life. I really didn't have any concept of how much or even how to imagine having money. I just wanted an income that could come into my life that was easy and effortless, that I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to do for. And I didn't really realize that that was my underlying motivation. I just thought that I wanted money to come to me easily. And I was excited on one hand about doing the spell and the prospects of having money, but I was also scared at the same time because I had a lot of beliefs around money that I didn't realize until much, much later when I started doing work on myself, that were actually causing me to fear having money and fear having a lot of money. And it also didn't coincide with my identity of myself. My identity, particularly back then, was basically a poor me identity, struggling artist identity, and coming from a family that wasn't financially well off at all. I had learned a lot of really negative things around money. So I was carrying all that with me when I did the spell. So I did the spell, and within a week of doing the spell, I received a chain letter. Now, if you don't know what a chain letter is, it's there's different types of chain letters. This one was somebody had sent me a letter that said, if you send uh, this letter on to, if you send me back $20, and then you send this letter on to 5 other people and get them to do the same thing for you, that's how you can make money. It's totally illegal in Australia anyway. And I knew that at the time when I got the letter, but what was I'm frazzled about when I got the letter was, why is the universe bringing me a scam? Why is it doing that? And it sort of set me back a little bit because I didn't know why it was bringing me this dodgy opportunity. And so I had to step back and think, what went wrong in the spell? Was it that the universe saw that that was the only thing available for me? And probably it was at the time, because I wasn't really doing anything else in my life that could bring in that kind of money that I was wanting. And I didn't have the mindset to help me build something or create something that could bring in that money. Yes, I mean, the spell could have brought me a lotto win as well, but there was the chance of the lotto win was actually much less than actually the chance of getting a chain letter, it seems, at that time. Anyway, what I realized much, much later when I started to do a lot of work on myself, the shadow work around money, was that what the magic was showing me, what it was mirroring back at me, was that I have a belief at the time, and had for a long time, that the only way I can receive money is to do something for it I don't like. And what I was trying to achieve in the spell was the opposite of that. But I still had the belief that I couldn't receive without having doing something I didn't like. And so the spell was saying, well, a scam at the moment is the only opportunity you have to do that. So it backfired, but it didn't stop me from doing magic. It just got me thinking, well, what did I do wrong? Why did this not work? And to try and find ways of improving upon it moving forward. But for other people, that could be enough to stop you from casting a spell ever again, because you may be afraid of what it is. But the magic wasn't mocking me. It was reflecting back my own energy. That's all it was doing. I had that fear of the only way that I could make money was to do something I didn't want, and that was a fear. I didn't want to earn money that way, and I didn't believe that I could do or create money in a way that actually I enjoyed. So this experience taught me something important too. Magic doesn't punish us, it just reflects us. It throws back what we've put out, and a lot of it is our subconscious, what we put out subconsciously. And that was my first lesson with magic. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And what I find with magic, and a way to sort of counteract this as a first tip, is to really understand when you go to do a spell, to really prepare for it, to understand why you're doing it, and what you need to really prepare yourself as the person you need to be to make that magic successful. And I do have a free PDF called the Spellcaster Checklist that can help you do just that. So if you're wanting to avoid some of these pitfalls I'm talking about today, then do grab a copy of the Spellcaster Checklist, because it will really get you to understand what the real magic is, where the magic is really coming from, and how you can cast spells that are actually successful, that don't backfire in that kind of way. So there's a link in the description field below this video for the Spellcaster Checklist, and you can also find it on my website, mysterywitchschool.com, under my freebies tab, and I'm just popping it in the chat as well. Now I'm just going to go over to the chat because there's a lot of people writing at the moment. So hi Joy, hi Gary, hi James. On some level, that explains why I'm being followed by so many women who I know are scammers, because I don't believe I deserve genuine person. There you go. See, that's magic's just bringing attention to what you need to look at to make things better for yourself. That's all it's showing you. Practice, practice, practice. Absolutely. Fire Mage does a lot of candle magic. Yep, candle magic is a favorite of mine as well. I love candle magic. Hi, Try to Love the Dark. Welcome. So let's talk about fear number one, shall we? Fear number one is the fear of doing it wrong. And a lot of people have this, particularly at the beginning. And where it comes from is that believing there's only one correct way to do magic. Magic is often steeped in a lot of superstition and a lot of myth. And we see that when it comes through television, Hollywood, even within the fairy tales and mythology itself, where people are often scared of magic because they believe that if they do one thing wrong in a spell, it's either going to make the spell flop or it's going to create absolute, mayhem, and things are going to go crazy. But the truth is there is no one correct way to actually do the spell when it comes to physically doing the spell. It's really not that difficult to do a spell. And even if you do muck up a little bit, like you do step 2 before you do step 1, it's okay. You can go back and start again, or you can just do it out of order and it will still work depending on where you've gone wrong in the steps of the spell recipe. But follow the recipe of any spell that's out there. Or if you're used to creating spells yourself, of course, then you'll know how to do it, to create a spell and what the spell recipe is. But there isn't only one way to do a spell. So don't worry if your candle falls over, or you go to do the spell and you realize, oh, I'm missing something, and you have to then go out and get it and bring it back in. I've done that so many times in spells where I've started something, even created a circle, set up the space, and I've forgotten something and I've had to go back out and get it. That happens. It's not a problem. The only becomes a problem if you make it a problem. If you psychologically make it a problem, if you think, oh no, I've stuffed this spell up, now it's going to fail, then you're going to be probably causing a problem with your magic. And sometimes I find that magic where it has been less than perfect in actually doing the spell, sometimes those spells can be the ones that work the best. So the perfection in the spell itself is not absolutely necessary. It's your focus and your energy and your frequency that matter more than perfection. It's what you truly want and being aligned with that energetically. That is the most important aspect of any kind of spell casting or manifestation work. So if you forget a word or you light the candle in the wrong order, it doesn't ruin your spell. And if you anoint your candle in the wrong way, so say you're trying to bring something into your life and you accidentally anoint the candle from the base of the candle up, which is like the letting go, just re-anoint it the right way. Just get the oil and do it the right way. You could say, I cancel what I've just done. I now bring in this energy. You can always neutralize and cancel things. And you do that by saying, I neutralize this or I cancel that. So don't be concerned about perfection when it comes to your magic. Okay. Hey, I'm doing it all right. I just been feeling low on energy. Yep, that can interfere with your magic for sure. Robert, divination is handy here as it can reveal your why behind the why and it can help you target the best outcome. Absolutely. If you can really understand your why, then you can target the spell to your why. Because sometimes the reason you're doing the spell might not actually be, it might not be the best spell for what it is you're wanting. And also your motivation behind doing the spell. There might be another way of going about doing magic to help you with the true motivation behind something. And so asking yourself those questions, working with the spellcaster checklist, for example, that free PDF that I was talking about can help you just get more clearer on these things. Okay. If a spell is like making coffee, then some people add sugar, some put milk in before coffee. Exactly, and I've heard tea making, you're supposed to put the milk in after you pour the tea, or you put the milk in before you pour the tea. Everybody's got their own methods of making tea, and coffee is exactly the same as well. So don't get hung up on the perfection of your spell and anything going wrong with it. You can always start the spell again when you've calmed yourself down and you're feeling better about yourself. So, fear number 2 is the fear of the backfiring aspect of the spell. And there's also a fear of karma. There's a belief in a threefold law that what you send out comes to you threefold. That's not necessarily true. The universe mirrors back to us what we put out. So, there is a mirroring aspect to that. But it doesn't necessarily do it 3 times more. It just mirrors it back, generally to the same degree that you put it out. And that's just the mirroring aspect of the universe. It's a mirror, essentially. It's not judging, it's not criticizing, it's not punishing. It's just reflecting back. And it reflects back in various different ways sometimes that don't make sense to us. So see the mirror. That's all you need to look at. You're looking at a mirror when you're doing a spell. The fear of the backfiring and the karma and the threefold law all comes from the conditioning, what we've been told about magic, in the fairy tales and uh, in the myths, in the movies, in the TV series, all that kind of thing. And religious upbringing, particularly religious upbringing, that could be any religious upbringing across the board, including Wicca. And also the online warnings that you might also see out there coming from people telling you how dangerous magic is and how you have to be aware of the dangers of magic. All you have to be aware of is the dangers of your own hidden beliefs and fears, because that's what's creating your life. And they're hidden because you just haven't seen them yet. It's not about being punished for anything that you do. There is no one out there to punish you. It's just reflecting things back. And it reflects things back in different ways. Karma, from a Buddhist perspective, is the mirror of the universe. It's what you're putting out there is what you get back. The truth is that, magic is really about your intention. What is it that you're wanting? And if you're looking at ethical magic, then it is about what you're wanting and how do you get that in a way that is going to make you feel okay about getting it. That's not going to go against your personal values or your personal ethics or your personal principles. So understand what your values are, understand what your principles are, understand what your ethics are, and work within that for your magic. It's not about punishment. You don't get punished for doing magic. You just get what you put out. And often that's subconsciously what you're putting out. So if you work with the idea of trying not to harm in your magic as much as possible, then focus your spells on things that empower you, things that are about waking you up to who you truly are, releasing things within yourself that are causing you to be blocked. Like road opener spells are probably some of the most powerful spells you could ever do. Sometimes just doing a road opener spell and working on releasing all of the blockages actually gets you what you'd want, and you don't even need to do the money spell or the love spell or the protection spell or the healing spell, because things just start to work just from doing a road opener. It's really understanding yourself and getting to know you and focusing on being the person that you want to be as opposed to the person you're used to being. It's about identity shifting, essentially. And magic's always been about identity shifting. And if you look at ceremonial magic or any of the so-called high magic, it is about identity shifting. There's a lot of work that they do to become the magician, to become the practitioner, and to, even the robes, wearing particular types of jewelry, wearing particular type of makeup, even for some people, is their way of stepping into that version of them that is able to create the life they want to create. And if that helps you do that, then you use those tools to help you step into that version of you who is living the life that you want to live. So don't be concerned about the spells backfiring, the karma or the threefold law. You don't have to accept everything money. I'm thinking of my money spell. I was about to talk about that again. That magic brings you. So in my case with the money spell, I didn't have to accept the scam as the result and follow that through because, magic brought me that, therefore I should follow it through. Yes, magic brought me that, but I didn't have to follow it through. What magic kind of brought me, I guess, was a lesson that I needed to go and review. Hang on, where did I go wrong in that spell? And it wasn't the spell itself. It was actually my belief system that was causing the spell to react in that way, or the magic to react in that way. And don't worry about karma when it comes to your spell work, unless you're doing a spell that's going to harm somebody. And so once again, as I said, it's a mirror. Then don't be concerned. If you're doing a money spell, don't be concerned about where the money's coming from. If you're doing the money spell and you want the money to come to you easily and effortlessly and safely with harm to none, then don't worry about where the money's going to come. It's going to come the way that it's going to come. A lot of people worry that if they do a money spell, somebody's going to die and leave them an inheritance, because that's one of the myths out there, or one of the scary things that people try to scare you with when it comes to money magic. And yes, people do inherit money. And yes, sometimes doing a manifestation work may align with somebody parting the earth, but that doesn't mean you caused their death. Their death was going to happen anyway. That was part of their path and their trajectory. You've lined up with it. So don't be concerned that your magic is going to cause hardship to someone else unless you deliberately want it to cause hardship to someone else, in which case, it's a curse or a spell or a hex or something like that. Okay. Before we go on to fear number 3, let's have a look at the comments. I'd like to be playful with magic, respecting it, but not being so serious it hinders me from flowing with the energy I'm creating or channeling. Yeah, absolutely. Magic should be fun. It should be something that we can play with, that we can have fun with, because the more fun you're having in your magic, the more of a high vibrational frequency you're in, and that's more likely going to bring you what it is that you want, because you're in that higher frequency. Gerald Gardner was trying to make magic more acceptable by putting the restrictions in. Definitely. The Anat harm none, do what they wilt, was something he borrowed from Aleister Crowley, but he only borrowed that little bit, and it was sort of a misinterpretation of that anyway. And yes, he did. He tried to make witchcraft more palatable for the sentiment of people who were around in the 50s and the 60s, and anybody who came after him was still trying to make it more palatable to the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and wherever we are now. So it was very much, let's try and make witchcraft a very squeaky clean, almost fluffy bunny, unicorns and butterflies kind of thing, so that people won't be so scared of it. And yes, it can be those things. There can be unicorns and butterflies and bunny rabbits and all those beautiful aspects of nature and the mythical world, but it's also the spiders and the snakes and all those kinds of things too. It's a double-edged sword. It's a polarity of the light and the dark, and magic is really about who's using the magic, not so much the magic itself. Okay, I tend to overthink if I don't just force myself to do the work. Yes, don't overthink anything. Hi, Tammy. Salutations back. How would you do a protection spell for a tree from potential harm from a neighbor? That's a really common thing, isn't it? I guess it depends where the tree is. Some places you can put protection orders. I mean, this is just the mundane thing would be to put a protection order on it, if that is possible within your council or wherever you are. That may not be possible, of course. You could do any type of a protection spell itself for the tree, and the way that you would work with yourself in regard to making that spell more powerful will be to know that that tree is always going to be there, and see that tree always there, that the tree is safe, that the neighbors changed their mind. They've gone and they've changed their mind. They're going to do something else, and you imagine they've changed their mind. You could even imagine that they've said to you, oh, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to do anything with that tree now. That could be part of what you're doing when you're doing the spell, is imagining those things. Okay, so it's common grounds. Okay, and you don't have any say in it, is that like a body corp or something like that? Fireball the neighbor. Yeah, I mean, I know these things happen. I've know people who've had these things happen, and it really is a case of putting a talisman on the tree or near the tree, or burying a talisman, a protective talisman in the tree, and working that way. And if you're wanting to, as you're doing the spell, you're also influencing the neighbor as well to decide to do something else instead of chopping down that tree. So there's a little bit of influence there. There's a little bit of a grey area in regards to the magic, a bit of grey magic there, because you are trying to influence somebody else, but in focusing mostly on protecting the tree, and focus on the outcome you want. Because you are protecting a living thing here. It's a living being, a tree, very much as any other living being is. So it's a case of life or death. It's also understanding maybe why the neighbor needs to get or wants to get rid of the tree, or do they need to get rid of the tree? Is it doing something to their property or the common property? Is it dangerous in some way? Or is it just they don't like the mess when it drops leaves and all that silly stuff? Okay, number 3, fear of spirits or energies. This is a big one, especially for the fear of doing it wrong, because sometimes people fear that if they do the spell wrong, they're going to offend the spirits, they're going to offend the energies of magic in some way. This is particularly common when you're working with deities, or even just creating a circle for the first time. There can be a fear that you're going to offend them because you've done something wrong, you've lit the candle wrong, or you've used the wrong colors, or you've forgotten something. But the truth is, if you're working with deities that are high deities, as in deities that are not low-level beings, they're high-level beings, they're not going to be too concerned whether you do things wrong in the spell. It's not like they're going to punish you. And, of course, remembering your boundaries, just like any other relationship. you have boundaries. And you have to assert those boundaries when you're doing magic. You are the one doing the magic. You're the one having a human experience. And you're calling on them for help, but you are the one that's in charge. Okay. And always remember that, especially if you're working with other spirits, like spirits that aren't deities, like um, earth spirits or fire spirits, any of the elemental spirits, or even any of the other sort of daemons or spirits that aren't deities, basically, or even the angelic spirits. They're usually pretty easy to work with. The only thing to fear is if you're working with more unruly spirits and you don't really know or understand their unruly side, that their whole reason for existing is to break things down, to create entropy, and to take energy. That's actually their whole reason for being. That's their I guess you could say, their role in the greater thing. And if you're working with beings like that, then you could end up with issues. So you really do need to protect yourself when you're working with those kinds of spirits or energies. Create protection rituals. You can use salt around the circle if you're wanting to use a physical thing. I tend to go for the more traditional Wiccan circle casting, which is what I teach in the Mystery Witch School, where you set up a circle of light, you invite in the elements, you then do energetic work with your athame or a wand around your circle, and you only invite those that you want into the circle, like the deities. Uh, if you're working with more of a ceremonial way of working, then the entity that you're invoking is outside your circle in a triangle, and the triangle is where they're contained. So there's different ways of working to protect your energy and to protect yourself from spirits. So that's fear number 3. We've got another 2 to go. Do a banishing spell for the neighbor. Yes. Perhaps a witch's bottle to draw away unwanted intentions. Absolutely, a good one to do. Yes, yes. There's so many different. Your creativity. Use your creativity. If you were to do something in real life and you knew that and you felt okay with doing it in real life, then do it in magic. Do the magical version of it. That's a good way to work. Like if you can think of, well, what could I do in real life? How can I do that magically? Okay. Always remember your autonomy. Absolutely. I would think if you're respectful, then the worst is they will ignore your request for help. Oh, yeah, definitely. They won't come to the party if you're not respectful. And the way of showing respect is offerings and just simply working with them like you'd work with anybody. Anyone you want to work with, you would be respectful and appreciate and have gratitude for their help. And that's all. Just treat them like you would treat a friend or a person or a colleague that you would work with. So, number 4 is the fear of not being powerful enough. Now, this comes from a little bit of myth as well, also from comparison, comparing yourself to other people who seem to be doing really well in their spell casting, and you compare yourself because maybe you're not doing so well. Or you're going through a bit of a slump where your magic isn't working for a particular thing. And so you start to doubt your magic and you start to think, oh, I can't do this. I'm lousy as a witch. I can't even make this happen. I can't even call myself a witch because I can't make this thing happen. And the only reason the thing's not happening isn't because you're not a powerful witch, because you are. It's that you're not letting yourself have the success. You're not probably allowing yourself to take the physical action you need to take to allow the magic to come into reality, because magic needs some physical action on your part to complete itself. And a lot of the time, it's that actually stops the magic from working properly, not taking the physical action that the magic is trying to get you to take. And often, sometimes we'll do a spell because we don't want to take the physical action to get what it is that we want, because we think that the physical action is limited. The magic has much other ways of being able to broaden the perspective and allow other opportunities to come in that you would never have thought of to receive what it is that you want or experience what it is that you want. It's your power. The power aspect of magic is you feeling empowered in who you are. Do you feel like a powerful person? In the Mystery Witch School Academy, we do a work in, I can't remember which module it is. I think it might be module 3 or module 4, where you step into your witch self and you start to work from your witch self. And that's how you start to tap into your power and feel like you can be the person you want to be. You can be the person who is experiencing that loving relationship. You can be the person who is experiencing the wonderful flow of money. You can be the person who's experiencing that good health. You can be the person who's experiencing a sense of safety and protection, that nothing can harm you or no one can harm you. So it's about, that is your power. Your power is in your identity, how you identify with yourself. So don't compare yourself with other people, and practice your magic. And that doesn't necessarily mean practice spells all the time. That means practice stepping into that version of you that has the things that you want to have on a daily basis. So that when you do come to do the spell, it's very easy for you to do the spell as that version of you because you've practiced that version of you. And that's just using your imagination. That's just using your imagination to go, well, what would it be like to be the kind of person that has a really good income that's flowing consistently? What would that feel like? And what would I do? How would I be doing things differently? What would I be spending the money on? Um, how would I be doing things differently? And just allow your imagination to put yourself in the situation where you are receiving that extra money and you're doing the things that you would be doing with that extra money, and feel what into, try it on, uh, and see what that feels like. And if you find that the feeling, you start to really feel into the feeling, that's the feeling you take into your spell with you. That's the power that we're talking about. It's a skill, really. It's not a superpower that only some people have. It's a skill, and you learn that skill by practicing stepping into the version of you want to be every day, who has the things and is doing the things that you want to do every day. And start with small spells. Start with little wins to build that trust in yourself. So if you are doing money magic, you could just do the money magic for small amounts of money at first, like, maybe to find $50, because $50 can be easy to find when you put it out there. So doing sort of little things like that to find ways of bringing in small amounts of money first, and then you can start to get more confidence and build on that and bring in, more money if it's money that you're after, that kind of thing. Same to do with love. You could start small. You could start with, okay, I need to get out more and meet people. So do magic to have more opportunities to go out and socialize. Or the magic could just be bringing you into contact with more people in general. And that is a good thing, because the more social you are, the more likely you are actually going to meet somebody. So you can use magic to help you take the baby steps towards something, just to get the little wins, to get your confidence up again. And if you find there's a particular area of magic that you are lacking in, you've done everything, you're good at this and you're good at that, but this particular area of magic, maybe it's your career, maybe it's your business, maybe it's love, maybe it's your health, maybe it's protection magic, that you just don't seem to be able to get it. It's just not happening. It's not coming. It's dead in the water, and you've done every type of spell under the sun. None of them have worked. Or they've worked a little bit. You got a little bit of a trickle of money in here, got a little bit of action happening on the romance side, but it didn't really work out that well. Then that's because there is a block there. It's a psychological block that's in the way. It's generally to do with your identity, and it's stopping you from allowing the magic to flow into your life, because it's stopping you from vibrating at the same frequency as what you want. And it's also stopping you from taking the actions that you need to take to allow the magic to come in. That's all that is. It's not that you're not powerful. It's just that you're not allowing yourself to be powerful. So fear number 5 is the fear of judgment. So a lot of people are worried about family and friends and society. A lot of us have been conditioned to believe that magic is bad and wrong and evil. And even if consciously we don't believe that, if we've grown up in a family who did believe those things, that can still be in our subconscious mind as a belief, and it can sort of rub up against us a little bit, where there's a little bit of guilt or a little bit of fear there about somehow being bad for practicing magic. And even I had this, when I was doing a lot of shadow work, I discovered I had this belief about the craft, that one of the reasons I didn't want to come out about being a witch, I felt bad about it online, was because I did have this belief that practicing witchcraft somehow made me a bad person, and there was shame around it because of my Catholic upbringing, and also, Western culture with a very strong Christian upbringing, and that's something I grew up with. And when I did the shadow work on that, I had to do a lot of work on the nuns and the priests that I'd grown up with, and working on those inner nuns and priests that were sort of still in my imagination telling me that I was doing it wrong. So there's lots of processes that you can use through Gestalt, EFT, that can help you with these things and break free of these fears. Your path is your path, and it's okay to be private about it. You don't have to let people know you're doing spells. You don't have to let people know you're doing magic. When I first started doing witchcraft, I was still living at home with my mother, and I used to just do it in my bedroom on the quiet. There's no way she knew that what I was doing. So you can do it privately, do it quietly, and be low key if that's what you feel you need to do. There's lots of ways to bring magic into your life without it being, big, grand rituals with all of the paraphernalia that you sometimes see with magic. Because yes, Tammy, you do have the power. Absolutely. So I'm just going back to the comments now. Okay, so we're going here. I would think that if you're respectful of the worst, I've already read that one. I'm a perfectionist, so I don't like to fail any of my deities. I like to do mine perfectly. Yes, perfectionists. This. Sometimes perfection. So if you ever wanted to explore perfection, then look at why things have to be perfect and why you put that pressure on yourself. If it stresses you out, that is. How to get back something that has been taken. My 2 young cats were taken from an enclosure in my garden 3 weeks ago. Oh, that's no good. To bring something back, you could use an image of the cats, like photograph of the cats, and a brown candle. Brown often represents animals. And fashion your spell on exactly what it is you want. My cats have returned. My cats are back with me. They're happy. They're healthy. They're well. And as you're saying that as your chant, or something like that as your chant, feel what's it like to see those cats again? A feeling of relief, a feeling of, oh, thank God they're safe. Thank the goddess they're safe. Uh, and what would you be feeling if you saw your cats again and they were back and they were found and they're happy and they're healthy? What would that feel like? And tune into that as you're doing your chant, as you're doing your spell. And then on a regular basis, when you think of it, because you will, of your cats, don't think about them not being there. When you think of your cats, think of them being there. Think of your cats back and what it feels like to have them back. Imagine them back around your home again. You're seeing them, having their food. You're seeing them lying about, doing what cats do. You're seeing them, chasing things. Just imagine that you're still experiencing that. And that's a way of, if it's possible to bring them back, if like they've been catnapped, then that is a great way to work towards getting them back. Self-doubt blocks the way of flourishing our power, absolutely. I like that not powerful enough illusion we deal with. Think of how you're creating or having created that which you wish to change. We are always powerfully creating. It's consciously, intentionally, yeah, creating. That's the art of the craft, absolutely, because we're always creating anyway. We've been led to believe that we're powerless beings, and we've been led to believe that for a very long time. It's within our programming from our upbringing and our culture. It's also in our ancestral history too, for most of us. Unless you're lucky enough to grow up in a family that's still practicing magic and has been forever, which some people are lucky enough to grow up in. For most of us, it's something we've been told we're powerless, and we're still being told we're powerless because that is it doesn't suit those who are in power, economically, politically, and even beyond the politics, and what their agendas are. So we need to step back into our power and realize we are powerful beings. It can be really scary to do that. Stepping into our power can be really terrifying. And if you think of stepping into your power, you may find a bit of a niggle sometimes of fear there, or shame or guilt. And that's the thing to work on, because that will be holding you back from stepping into your power. It can be very confrontational, stepping into your power, for sure. Good at spending money. Yep, it's good to spend money too. Money likes to flow. So spending money and receiving money, allowing money to flow. So seeing it flowing through you. Um, we are the power. Yes, I do have. I was talking about photos that you have of the cats. Oh, that you've put out as well, physically put out. Good. But use them in your spell as well. The photos of the cat. Money, Pink Floyd. Yes, that makes me think of that song too. We're on the highway to hell. Oh, okay. So everybody's helping out there. A bit fearful of how much or big my power is. Very, very common fear, Adrienne. We all have that fear, really. It's good that you're aware of it, because being aware of it is like the first step to doing something actually about it. And you can do something about it. It's not easy to reclaim your power and step into it. It's like a bit like chipping away at a rock. You sort of chip away bit by bit. And there can also be resistance that's coming from the ego programming that's telling you it's not safe. And so it will resist and resist and resist. And you can sometimes go through this sort of feeling of stepping into your power one moment and then going back into the self-doubt and the disempowered feeling the next, and oscillating between the two. And sometimes when you really are heading over more towards the powerful side of you, you've got to grieve and let go of that other part of you, because it's been with you for so long. There can be a sense of guilt in letting it go, and grief in letting it go. There can be a lot to stepping into your power. So it's reasons why most people don't do it. It's not an easy ride, but it's worth the ride. And really, it's the only ride in town, because once you can step into your power, then the world is your oyster, really. Hi, Robert, again. Thank you for your help over the years. You have helped me grow. Much gratitude. Thank you, Robert. You've been a wonderful part of the Mystery Witch School. Robert's been with us, I think, all pretty much from the word go, really. So, yeah, and it's good to catch up with you again too, Robert. Okay, so we talked about fear of judgment. That's something that you can do a lot of work on when it comes to shadow work, is the judgment, because when you're fearing judgment from other people, you're actually judging yourself the same way. And that comes through when I do processes with people, when I work one-on-one. And I've also got some of these processes in my course, the shadow work course called Wheels of Empowerment. And in the process that I use, you're actually exposing your power to people and then seeing what the result is in them. So you might be on a stage telling people who and what you are and being yourself, and then you see the reaction in the audience, and you see that there's certain people, often family members, could be old school friends, could be even people that you have currently in your life, that somehow criticize it or react really badly to it. And that's where you see where those beliefs are, because you're actually doing that to yourself psychologically. And the judgment and the criticism that you see in maybe your sister or your mother or your father or your coworker or little Jimmy from year 5, um, is actually now you doing it to you. And the process is a way then using tapping to actually help change all of that and release it and let it go. So there's different processes that you can use. You can use grounding and centering when you are doing magic, and making sure that you do clear your space, that you have either do a circle and bring in the elements or the 4 quarters to protect from any external forces that you don't want as part of your circle. Or you can just do an energetic circle around your spell space to only allow in what you want to allow in, so the good stuff, and that circle is keeping you safe from anything negative. And grounding and centering within yourself. Journaling your fears. Write down all of the things you're afraid of. Write them down so that you can see them. And that's all you're doing. You're just writing them down so you can see them. It's not going to make them manifest. It's just so that you can see them. And once you can see your fears, then you can start working on changing those fears. You can use reframes. You can use emotional freedom technique. You could use NLP. There's so many different ways that you can work with these fears. It's one of the things that I help people do in my coaching, my one-on-one coaching, is to help people change those fears and basically get rid of those fears, because most fear is not really true to life. We we believe things are frightening or scary or dangerous when often it isn't. It's just that we've been told to believe that it is. So write them down in your journal and get clear on what they are, and write down how they're stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve. If they're stopping you from achieving something on a mundane level, they're going to stop you from achieving it magically too, most likely. So you do need to see what these fears are. And start simple. Those little successes in those small spells that you feel more confident about, do those small spells. You can use affirmations, but make sure when you are doing an affirmation that you're able to feel into the truth of the affirmation. So if you were to say, "My magic is safe, I am powerful, and I'm aligned with my highest good," that sounds lovely. But if you can't feel that as you're saying it, then you're just speaking words. You may as well say Jack and Jill went up the hill 20 times because it's the same effect in the end. The way to maybe help the affirmation feel better is to say, "What if my magic is safe? What if magic is safe? What if I can practice magic and be safe at the same time?" That's a good way to suggest to your subconscious mind a new possibility. The same with powerful. What if I am powerful? And you might feel, oh, a bit scary being powerful. That seems to make me a little bit afraid. Well, what if I can be powerful and safe at the same time? Okay, but, maybe being powerful will make me a bad person. Well, what if I can be powerful and be a good person at the same time? Listen to the self-talk that comes back at you telling you why you can't be powerful, or why it's not safe to be powerful, or why it's not safe to do magic. And each time, put the what if statement in front of it and the affirmation, and go from there. So you're having this kind of dialogue with yourself, your subconscious mind, and basically reframing anything that comes it says to you that you can't do or bad, or what's you should feel shame or guilt. You can actually then reframe that and say, well, what if I can practice magic and still be a good person? And work the affirmations that way so they're actually useful to you, not just words. Because seriously, affirmations, like if you're doing an affirmation, "My magic is safe, my magic is safe," unless you're feeling into that safety, you really may as well just sing "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star" over and over again. Because what all this work does is it changes your perception, and you'll have a shift in perspective. So embrace your fear as a signal for growth. It's not a stop sign. It's not telling you, "Danger, danger, Will Robinson," It is telling you that there's a belief of danger, but that belief in danger may not actually be real. It could be false evidence appearing real. So investigate your fear. What is the fear? Where is it coming from? What are the beliefs? Are the beliefs real? Are they true? Most likely not. And do you want to get rid of them? Because are they helping you? Are they not helping you? And just do that journaling work and that little bit of shadow work to figure that out. Okay. So I'll just go back to the chat before. I've been practicing for over 60 years, and the one thing I still feel from time to time is the odd feeling of self-consciousness when I perform a spell or a ritual. Okay. So maybe you could investigate where that self-consciousness is coming from. What's the little gremlin inside the head telling you, as in your thoughts and beliefs telling you. Okay. Black candle always banishing negative energy. Yes. Staying grounded is always good. Do you have a book you would recommend for those of us who are extreme beginners? Yes, my book. My book is called Crafting Your Wiccan Path. It doesn't matter if you're not into Wicca. It's not like dogmatic Wicca or anything. I just use Wicca as a form. It's pretty much relaxed in regards to that aspect of it. It's called Crafting Your Wiccan Path. I've got a link in the description field below the video. And it's also on my website, mysterywitchschool.com, under my books tab. So yeah, I recommend that one. And my favorite book that I first started with was Scott Cunningham's, Scott Cunningham. His book, what was it called? Witchcraft, A Guide for the Modern Practitioner. That was the book that's got some practices in it. And his other book was The Truth About Witchcraft Today. It's just a very, very easy way of guiding you into the craft. Okay. Okay. Still remember when I was little how I hadn't known that I'm a hereditary bloodline born animist witch. I never knew biologically that I'm born through blood. Wow. And other people are probably in that position as well. I was told that if we look at either one of us witches, that we would go back to our house and cast a spell on others. Oh, okay. I hope I haven't lost the sound. Okay, let's go moving on. So I'd love to hear any of in the comment section, whether you do have any fears, what your fears are. So for those of you who are watching the replay, put those in the comments field. There's a few different rituals that you can also do to help you out here. Candle blessing rituals are great for working with confidence. So just lighting a candle like a red candle for confidence. You could use an orange candle for confidence. And just focus on what your fear is and then reframing that fear like I showed you before and affirming the confidence in your craft and whispering that into the flame of the candle and feeling into the reframe. So if you want to challenge that part of you that believes you're not powerful, whispering that into the flame, what if I am a powerful witch and I can be safe at the same time? What if I am a powerful witch and I can still be a good person, or whatever the fear is, and whispering that into the candle flame as the candle is burning down. So that's a red candle or an orange candle. You can also use protection charm bags as well that you might fill in with some herbs or maybe some crystals, using lavender or chamomile, sage, rosemary, basil, rue, lemon balm, peppermint. All of these herbs can help calm anxiety or nervousness. Some of them are great for purifying and clearing old energy. Some encourage courage and mental clarity. Others are just strengthening your confidence and dispelling more of the fears. And carry that bag with you is another way of working with these. And of course, one of the better ways of working with this, of course, is to go deeper into your practice and to go deeper into yourself. So to go beyond the basics, go beyond the fears. So that's why I'm inviting you to the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. That's a 12-month course designed to help you weave witchcraft into your everyday life. with confidence, with ease, and that sense of my life now has this sense of spiritual meaning because I'm bringing it into my life every day. You get structured lessons, you get guided rituals, you get community support, so you're not having to figure it out alone. I take you right from the very basics in the very beginning, and then we build on it over time. So you do start at the very beginning. So if you're an absolute beginner, it's perfect for you. And then we add as we go along. You do get introduced to working with deities at the beginning, but you don't really start to really work full on with the deities till a little bit later in the course because you want to get all of the other skills and things happening first. And confidence up in creating circles and all that magic as well. So it is perfect if you just want to go past the doubts, past the fears and the confusion and actually step fully into your magical power. So the link to join the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy is in the description field below the video. It's also on my website, mysterywitchschool.com, and you can also find it in the chat as well. Okay. Still laughing about that one, Tammy. Okay. Always say, I am powerful. I have that power. I am the empowered one. Yes, and step into it. I have quite a few courses now that really look at helping you step into power and step into who you are. The Mystery Witch School 101 Academy is great for you to step into your inner witch when you're first getting going and first starting in the craft. I've got the Wheels of Empowerment course, which is a shadow work course that can help you eliminate a lot of the fears and beliefs that you have about yourself. And that also uses magic and ritual to help you out with that, as well as emotional freedom technique. And then, of course, there's Journey with Hekate, which is actually really full-on identity shifting with Hekate. So that one is really quite intense, but it's also helping you to shift truly into your total power as well. So there is a lot of stuff there. And yeah, go to my website, mysterywitchschool.com, and see what is there for you and what would suit where you're at and what you're needing at this point in time. Now, one of the things about Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, for those of you who are into the spellcasting side of it, and particularly if you're struggling with a particular type of spellcasting, that course does come with another course, a bonus course, which is a 5-module course in spellcasting. So it's called The Witch's Guide to Magic, and you can get it separately, but you really get the value when you buy the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy because you get that other course as a bonus free with the Academy course. And that will help you sort out why you're struggling with your magic, in particularly if it's in one area and not in another. You'll learn the nuances of the different areas of magic. Why is money magic different than love magic for you? Or why are you struggling at this point in your life with protection magic? What's going on? And you start to learn to understand how to troubleshoot your magic by troubleshooting what's going on within yourself. So that's the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy with the bonus Witch's Guide to Magic. And yeah, just go onto my website. You'll see it all. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for coming along. We'll see you again next week, which will be the 27th, getting close to Halloween for you guys up there in the north. And Beltane for those of us in the south where I am. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Okay, blessed be everyone, and we'll see you again later.